Lex Luthor has gone through a lot of changes over the years, morphing from mad scientist to corrupt businessman and even becoming a bona fide hero temporarily. However, one thing has remained consistent, and that is that he absolutely has an undying hatred of Superman, and as such, done some pretty terrible things to him across his tenure in the comic books. So let's take a look at them. So I'm Jules, this is WhatCulture.com, and these are the 10 worst things that Lex Luthor has done to Superman. Number 10. Founded the Injustice League. As the leader of the Justice League, Superman united his fellow heroes for the noble purpose of saving the world from destruction time and time again. But that's not really of interest to Lex Luthor though, because all he knows is that if Superman has a nice thing, he wants to take it away. To that end, Lex Luthor has been the founder of numerous opposite teams to the Justice League, uniting his fellow villains for the less noble purpose of beating up Superman and his friends. The team started life as the Legion of Doom in the Super Friends cartoon before making the jump to comics. In their first appearance in JLA, Lex named the group the Injustice Gang and recruited villains for each hero of the League, including Joker and Mirror Master. The gang tried to turn the League against each other so that they would disband, allowing Luthor to set up a new team under his control. But the plan failed when Mirror Master betrayed the group after being offered a larger paycheck by the heroes. Lex and Joker would reform the group later, but this time called the Injustice League, a gigantic gathering of some of DC's biggest villains. Together they were able to take down the Justice League and took them to their headquarters in the Hall of Doom. But the heroes were eventually able to break free and capture the villains, but this was an eventuality that Luthor had already planned for. Clever boy. Number 9. Invented a kryptonite warsuit. Lex Luthor's war suit is one of his iconic looks. The hulking green and purple suit of power armor allows him to go one-on-one with the Great One, in this case Superman, in a battle that proves that while Lex does have many business interests, fashion isn't clearly one of them. The suit first appeared in what was not even one of the weirdest Silver Age plotlines. When Lex challenges Superman to a fair fight, they both travel to the planet of Lexor, which orbits a red sun and therefore nullifies Superman's powers. However, Lex became the planet's hero after helping rebuild their society, crime entirely, and went to live there. Apparently though, being constantly adored and praised can get a bit boring after a while, and so Lex decided to come out of retirement and lured Superman to Lexor to try and kill him again, hoping that maybe the 900th time that he tried this would actually be the charm. When Superman arrived, he found Lex decked out in a suit of Lexorian armor. Not only did the suit increase his strength and durability, but it also allowed Lex to fire blasts of kryptonite energy to weaken Superman. The two fought, but the battle ended when one of Lex's blasts destroyed a machine keeping the planet's core stable. Lexor was destroyed, but Lex got to keep the suit. In more recent comics, the suit's origin has actually changed and now goes under the banner of Lex hired a bunch of scientists to make it. Still, no matter the origin, Lex's war suit means that he is more than just an intellectual threat to the Man of Steel. Number 8. He dated Supergirl. As part of his obsessive crusade against Superman, there was actually a time when Lex Luthor wore a ring made of kryptonite. In a rare moment of reality ensuing, he later found out that constantly wearing a hunk of radioactive rock had given him terminal cancer. Reality then checked back out again as Lex faked his own death in a plane crash and then placed his brain inside a younger clone body who, of course, had long, flowing hair. He then introduced himself as Lex's long-lost son, Lex Luthor II, and for some reason gave him an Australian accent, and then took control of LexCorp. Also at the time, a new Supergirl was introduced after the original was wiped from existence during Crisis on Infinite Earths. So was this Supergirl another survivor from Krypton? Oh, no, of course not. That would be far too simple. This Supergirl was a shapeshifter created by an alternate universe Lex Luthor and based on his true love Lana Lang. She crossed dimensions and was adopted by the Kents, becoming Clark's sister. Anyway, the point of that nonsense is that the fake Lex Jr. used his resemblance to her creator to seduce Supergirl and turn her against Superman. It may not be Lex Luthor's most devious plan, but it certainly is his sleaziest. Number 7. He created some of Superman's greatest enemies. Like all good business moguls, Lex Luthor knows that sometimes it's best to delegate. After the story Crisis on Infinite Earths rewrote DC's continuity, Lex Luthor was responsible for creating some of Superman's greatest foes. Bizarro was created as part of Lex's attempts to clone Superman so that he too could have a version of the Man of Steel under his control. At the time, Lex and his scientists were unaware that Superman was an alien and just assumed that he was a super superpowered human. This mistake created the backwards and rather childlike Bizarro, who tried to live the same life as Clark Kent by kidnapping Lois Lane. This first version of Bizarro died fighting Superman when his body fell apart, but Lex later created a second version with a slightly higher mental capacity. Later, it would be revealed that Lex was also responsible for manipulating Rudy Jones into consuming the toxic chemicals that turned her into the energy-draining parasite. After continuity was again rebooted as part of the New 52, it turned out that Lex was the mastermind behind another Superman enemy. Luthor was head of the Project Steel Soldier, an attempt by the American military to create a counter to Superman, and was therefore responsible for creating the kryptonite-powered cyborg Metallo. Ironically, in the previous continuity, Lex nearly killed Metallo by removing his kryptonite heart to make the ring that we spoke about earlier. Number 6. Ruined someone's faith in Superman. The thing that keeps Superman going is actually the faith that people have in him to save them, and abusing that is something that gave Lex Luthor one of his very few victories. In Adventures of Superman number 15, Lex realizes that Superman has a weakness other than kryptonite. And magic, and psychic attacks, and being cut off from the sun, and also being curb-stomped by Doomsday. Yes, he does actually have a fair few weaknesses, but still, another weakness is that he can't be in two places at once. Luthor started his plan by driving a tank through Metropolis. When Superman came to stop him, he set off bombs at a nearby dam. Superman was able to save everyone at the dam and stop the flood by freezing it with his breath, but as he's doing this, he's unable to save a man named Mike who was screaming for Superman's help from being hit by a train. Later, we see Mike's disillusioned brother burn all of his Superman memorabilia. But you have to ask the question, why did Luthor do all of this? Well, because he would consider it a win if he managed to make even one person hate Superman. It really shows the true depth of Luthor's hate for Superman. He would go through so much effort and risk so many lives just to win an incredibly petty victory. Number 5. He made him a public enemy. In 2000, despite being obviously insane and having an intense hatred for someone who wasn't born in America, Lex Luthor became president of the United States. Anyway, surprisingly, Lex was a pretty good person for the job, presenting himself as a strong leader with a focus on making America a better place to live for everyone. Now, things weren't so moral behind the scenes, but more on that in a bit. The Luthor presidency came crashing down in 2003 during the first arc of Superman/Batman. Now, it probably goes without saying, but ever since Lex first took power, he had been looking for a way to abuse said power to get rid of Superman. And that chance came when a kryptonite meteor began heading for Earth. Fabricating evidence that Superman was indeed responsible for the meteor, Luthor declared him and Batman to be public enemies. Superman and Batman were forced to go on the run. The pair were pushed through a gauntlet involving Clark getting shot by a kryptonite bullet, a team of supervillains sent by Luthor to kill them, and even a fight against a team of heroes loyal to the government. After all of that failed, Lex took matters into his own hands and fought Superman himself with a combination of his warsuit and the super drug Venom. Luckily, the drug drove him insane and Lex ended up confessing his plan, causing him to be impeached. Oh, and by the way, Superman and Batman did indeed stop the meteor from destroying Earth, in case you were worried. Number 4. He destroyed his home. Oh, I hope that you're ready for another hot dose of Lex Luthor II and his glorious red mane, because we're diving back into that hot mess. After a few years of pretending to be his own son, Lex's plan began to fall apart. His clone body began to degenerate, leaving Lex forced to use an iron lung to survive. Meanwhile, Lois uncovered proof of Lex's deception and the fact that he was still involved in criminal activity. With Lex's entire plan crumbling around him, his assistant activated a fail-safe program to destroy Metropolis. It was designed as a final legacy, one last way to spite Superman. With a push of a button, hundreds of missiles launched across the city, destroying the Daily Planet and causing chaos in the streets. And that was only the start. Luthor's robots then started a rampage throughout the city, trying to make sure that no repairs could ever be made to Metropolis. This was followed by a cloud of hallucinogenic gas released over the inhabitants, and finally Lex himself taking control of a Kryptonian robot to try and kill Superman while he was amidst the rubble. Superman was able to stop most of Luthor's plan, but Metropolis was still devastated. And what happened to Lex? Well, he was left in a vegetative state, trapped within his own body. At least that was until a demon fixed it, because comics. Number 3. He started an intergalactic war. So Lex Luthor got up to some pretty shady business while he was president, and the shadiest of which was also seen by the public as weirdly his finest hour. Our Worlds at War was a crossover event through all of the Superman titles. It involved the heroes of the world banding together to fight Imperiax, an incredibly powerful alien who wanted to use Earth as a starting point for the destruction of the universe. Lex Luthor appeared to the world as one of its greatest champions, joining together a coalition of the heroes and military forces from all across the planet to repel the invasion. However, it was all an act. Luthor had in fact known about the invasion far in advance and did nothing to stop it. Also that when Imperiax did come, he would be hailed as the man who led Earth through such a catastrophic event. Superman was able to defeat the giant alien by pushing him through a portal to the beginning of time. However, the cost of Luthor's arrogance was incredibly high. There was devastation across the world. Atlantis was destroyed and thousands died, including Superman's friends Steel and Maxima. Luthor didn't care about this though. He was finally the hero he thought he deserved to be, and the devastation caused to his archenemy was just the icing on the cake. Number 2. He killed Superman twice. Well, it's actually just statistics really. After so many attempts to kill Superman, some of Lex Luthor's plans have got to work, right? Still, 2 out of several hundred isn't really a great average, and to make matters worse, neither of them were actually in continuity. So the first time that Lex killed Superman was in the imaginatively titled The Death of Superman. It's a completely bonkers story in which Lex Luthor invents a cure for cancer just so that Superman will trust him. When Clark's guard goes down, Luthor straps him to a table and hits him with a kryptonite ray which kills him. Lex then gets his just desserts though when Supergirl chucks him into the Phantom Zone. But don't worry though, the cover helpfully informs you that it's all an imaginary tale, so there's no chance of getting it confused with all of these comics that actually happened. Lex also managed to kill Superman in Grant Morrison's seminal All-Star Superman. Here, Luthor sabotaged an expedition to the sun which caused Superman to be overloaded with solar radiation, giving him just a year to live. Superman got his revenge though when he showed Lex how he sees the world, causing the villain to break down crying at the realization of what he'd done. And number 1, he destroyed his homeworld again. The bottled city of Kandor has long been one of Superman's greatest failures. The former capital city of Krypton, it was shrunken down and stolen by Brainiac to add to his collection. Superman rescued the city, but couldn't actually find a way to return it to full size. That changed in the story New Krypton, where Kandor was restored and resided near Superman's Fortress of Solitude at the North Pole. However, the Kryptonians of Kandor clashed with the people of Earth who indeed feared them. After Luthor unleashed an army of robots on the city, they used their advanced science to leave the Earth and build the planet known as New Krypton. But this wasn't enough for some Kryptonians though, and a faction led by General Zod planned to invade Earth. As a retaliation, the US Army sent a clone of Lex along with the kryptonite-powered villains Reactron and Metallo to the planet to attack Kandor. During the attack, the clone of Lex, under the orders from the original, caused Reactron to explode. The explosion started a chain reaction which destroyed the planet, killing almost all of its inhabitants. Superman was forced to watch the most traumatic experience of his life happen again. After years of searching, he finally had achieved his greatest dream and found his people, only to have them taken from him again by Lex Luthor. That is really terrible. And there we go, my friends. Those were the 10 worst things that Lex Luthor has done to Superman. I hope that you enjoyed that, and please let me know what you thought about it down in the comments section below. As always, I've been Jules. You can go follow me over on Twitter at RetroJ with a 0, or you can swing by at RetroJ_Insta, where I do all of my Warhammer painting, and it'd be great to see you over there, my friends. As always, I've been Jules. You have been awesome. Never forget that, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.